Welcome to Serengeti, a pristine world where life and death are separated by only a breath. Stretching across endless grasslands, this is where one of nature's greatest journeys takes place, the massive migration of millions of animals. From vibrant sunset-lit meadows to treacherous rivers, Serengeti is a battlefield, a paradise, and a place where stories of survival never cease to be told. The Serengeti Great Migration, an escape from death. Heads gather, silently converging like an invisible army preparing for a great landing. The wind rises, carrying moisture and the earthy, dry scent of cracked soil. The first rains of the season fall, slowly at first, then in torrents, awakening the land that has been dormant for months of drought. In just a few short days, the entire vast plain seemed to transform. The grey earth was now covered in lush, tender green grass, swaying gently in the breeze like a brand new carpet of life. Herds of wildebeest, zebras, Grant's gazelles and Thompson's gazelles began to gather, appearing in scattered small groups before quickly merging into large herds. From all corners of the plain, they streamed toward the new grasslands, where a silent call from the earth and sky had been transmitted. It was time to begin their journey. Newborns, less than 2 weeks old, had to stand up, staggering beside their mothers, their eyes still watery and bewildered amidst the boundless savannah. Meanwhile, the leading males marked the migration route, heading north, where the Masai Mara grasslands promised a more abundant food supply when the dry season arrived. The thundering sound of their footsteps echoed like the ancient drums of the continent, the large herds moving like vibrant rivers across the ocean of green grass. From above, the scene resembled a giant painting, where hundreds of thousands of individuals followed each other in a spiral brown, white, and black spots, blending together into a symphony of flesh and blood. But amidst this picturesque landscape, danger lurked. In the tall, honey-colored grass, dark yellow eyes followed every movement. Lions, leopards, hyenas, predators ready to strike. They didn't migrate, but relied on the journey, choosing the moment when the herd was weakest and most isolated to attack. As the wildebeest herd continued northward, stretching like a vibrant stream across the endless green carpet, the predators silently joined the fray. Not as boisterous as the lions, nor stalking in packs like the hyenas, the leopards, the solitary killers of the savannah chose a different approach, swift, precise, and absolutely silent. Amidst the low bushes where the ground was still damp after the rain, a female leopard lay prone, her golden eyes fixed on a herd of antelopes less than 100 meters away. Her muscular arms rippled slightly with each breath. Beside her were 3 growing cubs, thin and hungry. 3 days had passed since their failed hunt near the Simiu River. The wind was blowing in a favorable direction. The leopard began to creep even lower, each step on the ground as careful as a shadow. Her target was clear, a young wildebeest separated from the main herd while drinking at the edge of a puddle. Her small head lifted, listening intently, but saw nothing, only grass, wind, and the steady sounds of the moving herd. At that moment, a whirlwind of golden light shot out from the grass. The mother leopard sprang with lightning speed, 90 kilometers per hour in the first 3 seconds. Her claws extended, her long, lithe body like a living arrow tearing through the air. Everything unfolded in a deathly silence. When the struggle ended, the female leopard raised her head, her ears perked up, listening intently. There were no lions, no hyenas. Everything was quiet. She signaled her 3 cubs to come closer. The cubs darted out from the bushes, eager to pounce on the fresh meat. There was no time to wait. They had to eat quickly, for any noise could attract stronger predators. This is the harsh law of the Serengeti plains. Even the victors never find peace for long. The mother leopard didn't eat much, her eyes fixed on the south, where the dust was rising, signaling the herd of antelopes was continuing its advance. The journey wasn't over. When her cubs were somewhat fed, she would lead them, stealthily following the herd like a silent, invisible shadow. Leopards can't follow a herd forever. They must select their targets, wait for their opportunity, and each attack is a gamble for survival. But for the mother leopard, there was no other choice. In this world, survival doesn't come from absolute strength, but from precision, speed, and the ability to vanish as if never having existed. And so, as the sun began to set over the Serengeti horizon, the female leopard continued to weave her way through the golden twilight, accompanying the Great Migration, not as a companion, but as a ghost of the journey itself. As the evening shadows lengthened across the Serengeti grasslands, herds of wildebeest, zebras and Thompsons continued their relentless march. There was no pause, no clear direction, only collective instinct guided them. The sky gradually changed color from yellow to orange, then to deep purple. The thundering footsteps now mingled with the chirping of crickets and the flapping wings of birds flying in the opposite direction, avoiding the enormous path traversed by millions of creatures. The planet's largest migration continued, without sleep, without stopping, without retreating. Each day, this wild caravan grew longer, joined by smaller groups from nearby regions. Zebras walked on the outer edge, Thompsons in the middle, and wildebeest at the center. This movement structure was not random, but the result of tens of thousands of years of evolution. Zebras, with their keen eyesight and sensitive hearing, provided early warning of danger. Meanwhile, the numerous and fierce wildebeest can confront predators if necessary. The agile Thompson's gazelles are ready to sprint away when needed. Beneath the calm surface lies a series of silent tensions. Some gazelles collapse from exhaustion. The young cannot keep up. Vultures and hyenas follow, never taking their eyes off those lagging behind. They are an integral part of the cycle, cleaning, clearing, and reminding the herd that life is not free. At night, when the savannah is shrouded in mist and the moonlight is pale, the herd pauses to rest. But their eyes remain open, their ears are still perked up. The lions move in silence like formless spirits, their footsteps making no sound on the damp ground. A sudden roar echoes in the darkness, then falls silent. A life has ended. But the herd does not react. It is part of the journey, the cruel selection of nature. As dawn breaks and the fog dissipates, the herd resumes its journey. Along the way, they traverse low-lying, waterlogged grasslands, cross scorching red basalt-strewn plains, and at times even venture through open woodlands where elephants, buffalo, and giraffes come into view. While not participating in the large-scale migration, these animals are still affected by the Great Flow. They change routes, seek new water sources, or become more vigilant as predators become more active during the migration. In a low-lying area where the grass is thicker, the zebra herd pauses to graze. At this point, the symbiotic relationship between the species becomes apparent. The zebras eat the longer grass, allowing the antelopes behind to access the younger grass. It's a form of cooperation that requires no language, guided only by natural repetition and the need for survival. Meanwhile, the mother elephants with their calves also begin to move to a new location. They are not hunted, but they are dependent on water, and where there is water, there are animals, there is a journey, there is life. As the sun rose higher, painting the sloping northern hills golden, the wildebeest herd neared the greatest and most brutal challenge of their journey, the Mara River. The river, which divides the territory between the Serengeti, Tanzania, and Masai Mara, Kenya, is the final and most arduous point of their migration. Unlike the small streams or puddles they had crossed earlier, the Mara is a deadly barrier where a single wrong decision could cost them their lives. From above, the herd, stretching for kilometers, now gathered, huddled together at the southern edge of the river. They paused, hesitant, fearful. A chaotic chorus of calls rang out, as if they themselves sensed something amiss lurking beneath the murky brown water. The river was wide, its waters swirling, and most importantly, beneath its surface, hundreds of silent eyes watched. The Nile crocodile, The most ancient and patient predatory reptile of the savannah had been waiting for this day for months. For them, the migration was not just a hunting season, but a season of abundance, a season of blood and raw meat. A young wildebeest, pushed from behind by the surging herd, suddenly fell into the river. The splashing water startled the entire herd. In that instant, fear and survival instinct erupted and the herd began to rush down. Thousands of individuals simultaneously plunged into the Mara River, creating a terrifying scene of chaos. The river surged, shooting meters high. Cries, footsteps, and waves mingled in the primal sounds of life on the brink of death. The crocodile began its attack. A black head emerged from the water, lunging forward and biting the hind leg of a wildebeest. It pulled hard, spun around. Death swirls. A whirlwind of red blood erupted. Others panicked, trampling over each other, trying to climb to the other side. Many were crushed, swept upstream, or carried into swirling currents. On the other side, the ground was slippery from the water and mud, causing many to collapse upon reaching the finish line. Some staggered, their backs broken, their legs bent, but they still tried to crawl forward, for stopping meant death. Each time, hundreds failed to cross, but thousands more continued. And then, when the first of the herd set foot on the other side, where the Masai Mara grassland awaited, the entire herd seemed to receive an invisible signal. In waves, in successive layers, they crossed the river like a continuous surge. The river crossing could last from a few hours to several days, depending on the size of the herd and the speed of the current. At times, distant thunder signaled the coming rain. The sky turned grey, causing the river to rise, increasing the danger. But no one stopped. No one looked back. On a rocky outcrop, a mother zebra stood waiting, her eyes fixed on the water, waiting for her cub, which was nowhere to be seen. Minutes passed, and no one knew whether it had been swept away or was still struggling in the river. But the mother did not leave. In the natural world, maternal love is not always obvious. But here we see a small, lingering pull amidst the fierce sea of instinct. As the Mara River gradually returned to its usual tranquility, the small waves rippled as if they had never witnessed the chaos of a few hours earlier. The river crossing was over, at least for the first migration. The sky cast a gentle twilight hue, and the breezes carried the scent of damp earth and churned vegetation. Wildebeest, zebras, and Thompson's gazelles had set foot on the northern bank, the Masai Mara land, as if stepping through a sacred gate, opening a new season of life. Under the murky brown waters of the Mara, Nile crocodiles swam slowly and silently. After days of waiting, they finally had their place in the natural order, a role ordained by God to maintain balance. No species here lives outside the laws of nature, and every creature, from the smallest to the largest, has its place in the harmonious tapestry of creation. When satisfied, the predators retreat to deeper waters, leaving the river silent in the twilight, as if cleansed of the harshness of the past. On the water's surface, a few animal carcasses drift gently along, like whispers sent back to Mother Earth. There is no more fear, no more struggling, only serenity. Occasionally, a breeze sweeps across, creating ripples on the water's surface, carrying the silent image of an end and a beginning. It seems that here, death is not the end, but a transition in a journey ordained by God, where one individual quietly gives way so that all other creatures may continue to live and thrive. From the sky, the birds began to descend. Vultures, the silent cleaners of the grasslands, sensed the change. They were not predators, but service creatures in a chain of rules that humans rarely fully understand. With keen eyes, they sought out the animal carcasses stranded on the dry bank, where the scent of the end mingled with the earth and the afternoon sun. They landed gently, without pushing or making noise, doing their work with the patience and precision bestowed by nature. And when these creatures had completed their role, they left behind a clean, pure land where life could be reborn. A little further away, the hyenas also arrived. Not to compete, but to continue the work in the natural cycle, decomposition, completion, and closing a life cycle. Everything was used, nothing was wasted. Under the gentle morning sun, the Masai Mara landscape unfolds like a welcoming welcome. A promised land where lush green grass covers the land, water flows abundantly, and shade is scattered beneath ancient acacia trees. After a long and arduous journey, herds of wildebeest, zebras, and other migratory animals have reached their resting place. This is not just a temporary destination, but a reward from nature, a rare moment of tranquility in the relentless cycle of wildlife. The wind blows across the grasslands, stirring a soft sea of green, like the gentle hand of God caressing weary creatures after their arduous journey. The animals begin to spread out across the vast plain. Familiar calls echo from mothers searching for their young, and children calling for their mothers, then gradually subside, giving way to the rhythmic sounds of life. The gentle rustling of grass, the chirping of forest sparrows from the low bushes, the lapping of water at the edge of small pools where the young drink their first fresh water after their long journey. That is when new life begins, sheltered by fertile land and tranquil time. For wildebeest, the dominant species, the resting season in Masai Mara is also the breeding season. Females, pregnant before or during the journey, are now ready to give birth. On the velvety grass, the first individuals begin to separate from the herd to find safety in the low bushes. There are no nests, no shelters, only the vast sky and soft ground to welcome the new life. A female wildebeest is in labor. She lies down, breathing heavily but with a steady gaze. Soon after, a wet calf is born, its legs still trembling, its head raised in search of its mother with the first instinct of life. The mother wildebeest gently licks its calf clean, giving it warmth, scent, and the primal maternal love forged over millions of years of evolution. Within minutes, the young animal stood up, unsteady but determined, as if within each tiny cell was a silent call to live. Across the grasslands, such moments were unfolding simultaneously. Thousands of offspring were born within weeks, a flourishing of life unmatched anywhere else on the planet. God, the Creator, seemed to have touched this land and bestowed miracles with each new life. It was forgiveness after trial, peace after the storm. The young males, after their arduous training, now entered adulthood. They began to form competitive groups, challenging each other through small chases, gentle butts of horns as a declaration, "I survived. I am ready to continue the species." These confrontations are not destructive, but rather a testament to resilience, an integral part of natural selection, where the strong are not necessarily ruthless, but rather resilient, persistent, and steadfast amidst the wilderness. In the sky, white clouds drift lazily, reflecting on the calm waters of the small swamps, where cranes, herons, and many other migratory birds also nest. A multi-layered, multi-voiced ecosystem together creates a peaceful symphony of the reborn steppe. Acacia trees bloom, their branches swaying beneath the feet of giraffes enjoying their breakfast. The entire land seems to smile, relieved to have kept its promise to all living things that if the challenge is overcome, peace will come. And so, throughout the remainder of the rainy season, Masai Mara becomes a cradle of life, where new individuals grow, learn to walk, run, integrate into the herd, and prepare for their journey south when the seasons change. But at this moment, as the golden sunlight pours down on the grass, as the gentle breeze blows across the hillsides, no one thinks of tomorrow. Because today, everyone is living fully, completely, and peacefully as a sacred gift amidst the vastness of nature. In a land where winter is longer than memory, a great migration is also underway. In the far north, where the sky is almost colorless and the earth is buried in white snow for months, nature sets its rhythm with silence. The sun barely glides across the horizon, casting a pale light on the cold snowfields. The wind blows steadily, carrying icy dust close to the ground. No sound, no human presence. But then, in that motionless space, a small movement begins. A female reindeer lifts her head, She stands still, listening to a wordless signal, not from the sky or the earth, but from within her own blood. No one gives a command, no reason needed. She walks. And then, a wave spreads across the thick snow. Simultaneous movements, like a giant heartbeat suddenly surging. Hundreds, then thousands of reindeer begin to leave their wintering grounds. They are not alone. They do not know their final destination, but they know the time has come. According to updated 2024 figures from the US and Canadian governments, the Arctic reindeer population is now around 1.88 million, spread across Alaska, Yukon, and Nunavut, a sharp decline from over 5 million 3 decades ago. And now, nearly 2 million of these creatures, like a living river, are setting off again, a long journey through ice, cold winds, and time, not for adventure, but for survival, and so that the young can be born in places beyond the snow where grass begins to grow. The snow still covers the ground, but the early spring sun has awakened something more subtle than the wind, the migratory instinct that has lived in the reindeer's blood for millennia. No other species remembers its way like they do. No maps, no satellite signals, only biological memory, like a compass ingrained in its bone marrow. Reindeer are creatures of movement. Each pair of long, slender, yet sturdy legs is designed for relentless marching. Their hooves are wide and flexible. They can spread out on soft snow to avoid sinking and close tightly when climbing slippery rocks or swimming through icy water. Even their fur, which appears soft and warm, is actually a hollow structure, helping to retain heat and buoyancy like a float. A reindeer's heart is as large as an adult's fist, beating faster in strong winds, in cold weather, or when climbing mountains, but it never skips a beat. Their respiratory system is strong enough to draw in thin air at high altitudes and flexible enough to adapt to the sub-zero cold throughout the journey. No individual slows down because the herd never stops. In this steady movement, nature behind them recedes, the mist-covered forests dissipating, the long shadows of the last winter, and ahead lies a distant land, unseen yet ever present in their subconscious. After several days of travel, the reindeer herd reached a low forest, a transitional zone between the tundra and the southern edge of the taiga. The pine forest appeared like an ancient refuge, where the wind was trapped between the dense foliage and where the rare spring sunlight filtered through the gaps in the trees, casting soft streaks of light on the ground. The herd slowed. The smell of moss and decaying leaves mingled in the air. The calves panted, their tiny feet sinking deep into the dry leaves, snuggling into their mother's fur to sleep. The reindeer spread out into the forest, sniffing clumps of lichen clinging to tree trunks and the ground. This seemingly barren food source was their sustenance on the long journey. Their muzzles were soft and agile, skillful enough to rake through the snow, turn over the earth, and find the few remaining clumps of grass beneath the melting ice. The space became silent. Beneath the thick canopy, nature seemed to hold its breath. But this was only the silence between two migrations. The forest was not a place of refuge. It was just a stop. To rest, to eat, to give the cubs a little more strength. Because ahead, the journey was still long. And the earth and sky were still not kind to these travelers who possessed the instinct to move from birth. Then, in the distance, a movement caused the whole herd to halt. On the edge of the forest, on the other side of the small stream, the reindeer encountered a herd of elk. The males were tall, their branched antlers reaching up like the supports of the forest. Their muscles bulged beneath their thick brown fur, each step carrying the weight of an ancient lineage. Elks usually live in small herds, moving silently through the forest valleys. Encountering them was rare, and this sight was all the more unusual. The reindeer stopped, not out of surprise, but because something was about to happen. The wind blew in the opposite direction, and carried by the wind the smell of blood, the smell of wet fur, the smell of grey wolves. From the shadows of the trees, a pack of wolves began to move, almost silently. Their sharp eyes gleamed like cold glass. They had chosen their target, an old elk, seemingly weaker than the others, walking last. No warning, no alert. The attack happened in an instant. Elk dashed, branches lashing against his flanks. But the pack of grey wolves worked together as a single unit, biting, pulling, locking legs, leaping onto necks. A slip, A fall, then the sound of the jungle ripped apart in a final breath. By the stream, the pack of grey wolves had stopped beside their prey. They circled around each other, not noisy, not fighting, just a moment of quiet to recharge. It wasn't a victory, simply life, sustained, in the most ancient way nature had ever ordained. Further away, the reindeer stood in the forest, silent, their eyes wide, their ears drawn to the event that had just occurred. Not a sound. Only an unnamed tension seeped through each individual. They weren't targeted, not this time, but instinct knew. In this land, anything could happen at any moment. The calves huddled close to their mothers. The older ones began to walk slowly. The herd moved again, like a vibrant heartbeat in the deep forest. No one turned, no one asked. Only the silent footsteps continued. The tiger forest closed behind them, concealing what they had just witnessed. And ahead, the sun slowly rising on the silver horizon, where the journey would continue, with the hope that the green land was drawing closer with each step. For reindeer, life is not in a single moment, but in the relentless march forward. From above, the reindeer herd glided along the edge of the thawing prairie like a silent band of life. Each step sank deep into the soft, damp earth, fragrant with the scent of spring just awakening. They had traveled for days, through dense forests, thin ice, and rocky hills, as the wind gradually subsided, as the sun began to rise higher above the horizon. Ahead, the land opened up, then faded, the light reflecting brilliantly like shattered glass. A long, still, and cold river flows between two seasonal banks. On the surface, icebergs drift lazily like the last vestiges of winter. The water is not swift, but deep, silent, and icy to the very bottom. The herd pauses. No panic, no surprise, just a slow breath before the next challenge. Then, a large female, leading the way, steps into the water without hesitation. Her hooves firmly press on the slippery pebbles, the water rising to her chest. Her fur is heavy with wetness, but her steps are steady. One, then two, then hundreds more follow, as if the entire herd is drifting across the mirror-like surface of the earth and sky. There is no calling, no struggling, only movement, steady, deep, and unstopping. A young reindeer plunges after the herd into the water, its small feet pounding incessantly in the icy current. It is not a good swimmer, but instinct compels it to move forward. Ahead, the whole school was surging forward, water splashing under their hooves, the waves crashing against their bodies like a chaotic drumbeat. Its mother was in the middle of the stream, her back soaked, her head tilted forward, swimming in the direction the school was spreading out toward the south bank. The calf tried to kick, tried to maintain its direction, but the water rose above its chest, then to its neck. Each time its feet touched the bottom, it slipped. The river wasn't swift, but cold and silently pushing. A gentle vortex pulled it off course, just a few meters, but for it, that was a whole distance. It gasped for breath, trying to adjust, its ears perked up in confusion. The wind stung its eyes. It didn't cry out, it just tried its best to turn back toward its mother. But its mother didn't know. She was almost at the bank, her feet barely touching the ground, still hearing the rushing water behind her. She turned instinctively, glancing back at the water behind her. There was no cry, no farewell. There was only the familiar silence of nature, where survival was never certain. In this land, a slight delay, a misstep, could be the last. The herd continued to move. Their hooves trod the wet grass, leaving fresh footprints. Life waits for no one, and not every creature completes the journey. And then, after days of traversing forests, crossing rocks, traversing glaciers and silent farewells, the scene unfolded before the herd like a green dream at the end of their journey. On the top of a gentle slope, the reindeer stopped. Ahead stretched an endless valley of grass, lush green patches intertwined like waves, sparkling in the early summer sun. No more snow, no more icy cold. Only the vast meadow extending to the foot of the hazy purple mountains on the horizon. Gentle breezes swept through, causing the grass to bend like rippling water. High above, clouds drifted slowly, casting faint shadows across the slopes. Birds circled, calling to each other with clear, melodious songs. Below, A small stream meandered like a silver thread embroidered on a soft green carpet. The reindeer stood there, silent for a few moments, as if listening to the new land, whispering something. Then one dismounted. Then the whole herd followed. Hoofs touched the soft ground, fur swayed in the wind, bodies gradually relaxing in the golden slanted sunlight. The promised land, finally, had appeared. The first steps on the green grass were a new beginning. No one urged them on. No need for guidance. The whole herd spread out across the wide meadow as gently as the breeze. Heads bowed, muzzles touching the cool, tender grass. They ate slowly, steadily, as if each blade of grass were a reward after an unnamed journey. The grass was soft, sweet, and grew in strips, reaching high in the sun. The young reindeer, not yet capable of eating much, began to imitate, chewing on their first green morsels. And the mothers, thinned after their long journey, were now replenishing their strength, each breath more relaxed in the warm sunshine. The steppe unfolded like a dream after a long journey. Green grass, flowing streams, golden sunlight on the backs of reindeer bowing their heads, seeking renewed vitality. But few knew that this land was not desolate. On the far eastern edge, where the land rose into old, moss-covered rocky mounds, a family of white wolves had lived there since the beginning of the snowmelt. In the cool, dry crevices of the rocks, the young cubs were just learning to walk, while the mother wolf lay still in the shade, her ears turned toward the distant meadow where the sound of hooves could be heard. This was not unexpected territory, this was their home. The grass here was good, prey was abundant, and the view was clear, an ideal land for raising wolf cubs. And for hunters like them, nothing was more concerning than the unusual movements of a large herd of prey that had just entered their familiar space. From the top of a mound, the alpha male wolf, tall, with fur as white as old snow, observed. He didn't seem threatening, but his eyes were deep, still, as if weighing every movement. The reindeer didn't know yet, or if they did, it was only a vague feeling in the air, a slight change in wind direction, a fleeting shiver down their spines. Then, a howl erupted, round, long, echoing far into the seemingly motionless space. On the top of the low-lying mound, the alpha wolf raised its head. It took a deep breath, gathering in its lungs the wind, the scent of grass, and the vague movement of the distant herd of prey. Then, a round, resounding howl echoed through the open space. Not hurried, not fierce, just enough to make the air ripple. It wasn't just a command. It was the opening cry of instinct, ancient and irresistible. The entire pack of wolves sprang up, like a sudden underground stream gushing forth from the earth. They charged forward without a sound, without a moment's hesitation. Their silvery white bodies traced vivid trails across the tender grass, the wind tracing the trails like undertows. The reindeer herd was startled, a tremor spreading from the front to the back. Hooves struck the ground, grass tossed up like sparks. A young individual was thrown off course, separated from the pack for just a moment. That was enough. The chase didn't last long. There was no panic. Only speed, silence, and a clean ending, like a taut rope releasing its final snap. The wolves stopped. No howling, no fighting. They stood there, surrounding what they needed, breathing, maintaining their balance as if nature had just completed a full breath. The reindeer herd had retreated, eyes still looked back, but no one stopped, no one turned back, because in this world, sometimes just surviving is a victory. The reindeer's journey ended not with a destination, but with a moment of silence. After thousands of kilometers, the last hoof prints were imprinted on the warm grass. The calves were born, the mothers rested, and nature, after testing each step, finally opened its arms to receive them. But somewhere, beneath the surface of peace, remain unanswered questions. Will this road still be covered in snow next year? Will the river still be cold enough to challenge them? And will the reindeer still have enough space to continue their journey, passed down through generations? Because survival, however proud and ancient, needs a place in the modern world. If you have accompanied them on this journey, please continue by supporting wildlife conservation organizations. Every contribution, however small, is another step in keeping nature's rhythm intact, so that one day our children can hear, not through films, but in the wind itself, the silent migration of the northern reindeer.